Day one of Diddy's federal trial just dropped, and it's already spiraling. A courtroom packed with nearly 600 potential jurors, celebrity names flying, and a leaked video so damaging his legal team scrambled to bury it. This isn't PR cleanup. This is real. And if you think you've heard it all, you haven't. We're breaking down every twist, every name, and every jaw-dropping moment from inside the courtroom. Welcome to Chatter Fuse. Subscribe now, because what just happened in that courtroom? It's only the beginning. Now let's talk about the people who might decide Diddy's fate, because the courtroom wasn't just packed, it was overflowing. Nearly 600 potential jurors were summoned, an unusually high number for a case like this. And it wasn't just about who they were, it was about who they knew. Each candidate had to answer if they were familiar with a list of celebrities so long, you'd think they were casting for an awards show, not seating a jury. Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, Kanye West. Yes, that Kanye.
Can you just put into perspective how significant this case is?
This is a very, very significant case. I like to akin this is the Gen Z's, I guess, version of the O.J. Simpson trial.
Wow.
I was in 5th grade whenever the O.J. verdict came out, and I remember my teacher stopping trial. What's going on? We got to figure out what's happening with this verdict. What's different in this particular case than the O.J. Simpson trial is that this is not going to be live streamed.
The reason? Prosecutors anticipate these names, and many more, will come up during testimony, which means this case doesn't just live in legal files. It bleeds into the entertainment industry, into headlines, into public memory. But the real shocker? Some jurors were dismissed immediately, not because they had a conflict of interest, but because they'd already seen the surveillance video. The video, the one that shows Diddy allegedly assaulting his ex-girlfriend in a hotel hallway. A piece of evidence so volatile, it's already shaping the courtroom before opening arguments have even begun. And if that's what's happening in jury selection, imagine what happens when testimony starts. The footage in question isn't grainy or ambiguous. It doesn't leave much to interpretation. In it, Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former partner, is seen being shoved, dragged, and cornered in a Los Angeles hotel hallway. The silence in that courtroom, when jurors were dismissed for having already watched it, said everything. The defense immediately went on the offensive. Their argument? CNN edited the video. They claimed the original footage was altered to make Diddy look worse, framing it as a media hit job rather than hard evidence.
His team tried to get this thrown out because it originally went to CNN, and they claimed that it was edited in order to make it look worse than what it was, and that the original was destroyed. Well, CNN clapped back and say, no, the original wasn't destroyed. We have it unedited. We just put out, edited version because of the length of it and blah, blah, blah.
But CNN pushed back hard. They maintained the raw, unedited version still exists, and that what was broadcast was simply shortened for time, not manipulated. What's more telling is that Diddy himself already responded, not through his attorneys, not through a spokesperson. He posted a public video, apologizing, no courtroom setting, no legal jargon, just him, looking directly into the camera, admitting that what people saw was, in his own words, inexcusable. He said he hit rock bottom. He said he was ashamed. What he didn't say? That it never happened. And in a federal trial, that kind of silence speaks louder than any press release ever could. But the video is only part of what the jury will have to confront. Cassie Ventura has made a decision most alleged victims avoid. She's testifying under her real name. No shield of anonymity, no blurred-out silhouette on a screen. She's stepping into that courtroom fully visible, fully exposed, and fully prepared to speak. And considering who she's going up against, a billionaire with an elite legal army and decades of industry influence, that decision isn't just brave. It's seismic.
Just in general, what is the significance of that?
She's ready to have her day in court.
Yeah.
She's ready to let everybody know, not just Diddy, but to let the world know what happened to her. When you are uncloaking that veil and when you are actually presenting your true self in front of jurors, in front of the world, it means that you mean business. And that's great for the prosecution. When you have a victim, when you have a survivor that's decided, I'm actually going to come out here and I'm going to tell you my name, it's because I'm ready for whatever the defense is going to show.
The court has granted anonymity to other witnesses, including at least one male sex worker expected to testify. Others will be allowed to use pseudonyms to protect their identities, a legal accommodation rarely granted but deeply warranted here. These aren't just character witnesses, they're people whose stories mirror Cassie's in disturbing ways. Allegations of coercion, violence, and control. And they're lining up one by one to speak under oath. If even part of what they claim holds up in court, Diddy's not just fighting for his freedom, he's fighting to keep what's left of his legacy intact. Behind closed doors, prosecutors say it wasn't just chaos, it was calculated. The term used in the indictment, freakoffs. That's what these drug-fueled, invite-only parties were allegedly called. But they weren't just parties, they were setups, environments where women were coerced into sex acts, sometimes with male sex workers, often under the influence, and rarely with a choice. This isn't tabloid fodder. These are structured allegations backed by testimony, surveillance, and, if the prosecution is right, a pattern of behavior stretching back years.
I hear that in addition to Cassie Ventura, the government has 3 other key witnesses. So a total of 4 key witnesses who will take the stand to discuss their allegations against Sean Combs.
One of the male sex workers expected to take the stand will reportedly testify to being present during these encounters, and he won't be alone. Additional witnesses are lining up to describe similar experiences, many of which paint a picture that goes far beyond bad decisions at wild parties. This isn't a scandal, it's systemic abuse with receipts. And if the jury buys even half of it, the courtroom won't be debating fame or image. It'll be calculating years behind bars. Zoom out for just a moment, and what you see isn't just one man on trial. It's the collapse of a system that let him operate unchecked for decades. The luxury penthouses, the exclusive parties, the air of invincibility, it all shielded him. Until now. This case isn't about a fall from grace. It's about whether grace was ever deserved in the first place.
They have to prepare because they cannot make any mistakes.
Yeah.
This elite all-women prosecution team, they've got to make sure that all their ducks in a row. This is either a make your career type of case, or this is a break your career type of case. So they're going to be prepared. I think they've been working on this case for at least a year now. They are prepared with their evidence. They're prepared with their witnesses. They've probably spoken to their witnesses at least 2 to 3 times to make sure that every I is dotted and every T has been crossed.
When someone with Diddy's reach and resources is finally forced to answer to a courtroom, not a publicist, it sends a message that no matter how famous, how rich, or how protected you are, the law doesn't care about your resume. And what's unfolding now? It's not just a reckoning for Diddy. It's a wake-up call for an entire industry built on silence and spin. Because if the allegations hold, this trial won't just convict a man, it'll convict a culture. The stage is now fully set. Opening statements are scheduled for May 12th. And from that moment forward, every word, every witness, every detail will carry the weight of decades of silence. And here's what makes this even more staggering. Diddy had a choice. A final plea deal was reportedly on the table. He turned it down. That means this won't be settled in back rooms or hidden behind NDAs. This is going to trial. Every accusation, every witness, every uncomfortable truth, it's all going before a jury. And the stakes? They couldn't be higher. What we're watching isn't just a criminal case. It's what happens when someone who was once untouchable suddenly isn't. When the system finally moves against the powerful, it's not just a trial, it's a turning point. If you're tired of celebrity scandals getting swept under velvet rugs, you're in the right place. Subscribe to Chatter Fuse, where we follow the fame but never flinch from the fallout. This is just the beginning.